I'm Brandon Isle with BYU-Idaho Radio, and joining me through Zoom is Ryan Shupe. He and the Rubberband are going to be in Idaho Falls on Monday for a concert at Thunder Ridge High School. It's at 7:30, and tickets are on sale right now. Ryan, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Ryan, this is such a fun tradition. You do this Christmas concert each year, and you're always gracious to come to Eastern Idaho. Tell us about the concert, what people can expect, and kind of what's Christmas for you?
Well, the show, it's a great show for anybody. I would say bring everybody you have. We get a lot of people who come to the show and they say, "Oh man, I wish I would have brought my cousin or my kid or my whoever." It's great for the whole family. And as far as Christmas for me, I remember when we first started these Christmas shows. It seemed like Christmas would just creep up on me, and all of a sudden it was Christmas, and I was like, oh, I didn't even get into the Christmas spirit. So, I mean, I like these shows because it kind of gets me in the Christmas spirit, and it's a lot of fun. We have some sing along songs. We do, of course, a lot of Christmas songs that are that people know, but we also do some variations of our own songs which we've turned them more Christmassy. So we have the corn dog song usually, but we changed it to the eggnog song. And we do the Devil Went Down to Georgia, and we changed it to the Grinch Went Down to Whoville. So we've got some kind of fun little twists that we do. But it's a lot of fun. We always try and put on a good show, and we want people to go away, leaving in the Christmas spirit and in a good positive mood.
Yeah. Well, for people who are not familiar with your band and with your music, how do you describe it to people?
We used to say it's post hee haw funkadelic hip hop newgrass, but then people would just kind of scratch their head and be like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And so I think lately when I run into someone, I just tell them it's kind of rock and roll bluegrass. That's maybe a little more palatable way to describe it. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It's fiddle, it's mandolin, it's banjo, guitar, drums. So it's kind of rocking, but it's also rooted in that acoustic bluegrass background, but it's kind of like pop bluegrass, acoustic fun.
Yeah. Well, and really is fun. You have such high energy on the stage, and it's so easy to dance to and just listen to on repeat and just have a lot of fun. How do you bring that energy to the stage each time?
Well, you know, playing shows is probably one of the best parts about uh, doing music, I think, because you're kind of creating this unique moment, where it's just a unique time for everyone. So I think once you get to the show and you kind of feel the energy of the crowd and they feed off of you and you feed off of them, that just kind of comes naturally at that point because you're just there and it's all of a sudden the party started and you just then you just take off and it's easy from there. So
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited that people get to be at a concert with you guys. Can you reflect with me a little bit about the Rubber Band and how you got started and how it's kind of changed over the years?
yeah, so I was in college and I wanted a band because I figured everybody wanted a band in college, and I had already been playing music for a long time, just as a kid and stuff. So I organized this band, Ryan Shupe and the Rubber Band. I didn't really know who was in the band, but I just knew that I wanted to have a band, and I had a bunch of musician friends. So I called it the Rubber Band, the flexible band. So people could come in, come out if they wanted to. And then it kind of solidified pretty quick into a more stable group of guys, and that's when we just kind of started touring around, and we went to Nashville and we got signed to Capitol Records, and just did all that crazy stuff, and then we signed with a different label, and now we've just been releasing stuff independently. So for us, it's just you just kind of keep going, and then as time has gone by, one guy would maybe go get a he's like, well, I want to go to, Ireland and learn about something. And then we'd find another guy and I'd replace him. And then maybe he'd come back and play some shows. And so, what's been fun is the Rubber Band family, the extended Rubber Band family has kind of grown over the years. And so, I have a core group of, guys that I'll usually draw from and play shows. So it's been a really great thing. I didn't know how long it would go. I just said I would play music until it didn't make sense. And so now I just did one album, and then now, it's kind of like 9 albums later, still doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, in almost 30 years now. Is that crazy?
That that is crazy, actually. I mean, just hearing you say that, or I say that out loud, just doesn't really seem possible. Because I don't know. I think maybe most people feel that way. It doesn't matter how old you get, you just still feel kind of young. I don't really think that I'm old, but I just feel like it's crazy how long we've been playing already. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. But it's been a lot of fun. It's just been a really fun journey. A lot of fun times, a lot of fun adventures and shows and crazy things.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned crazy things. What are some of those crazy things that kind of leap to your mind?
Oh my. So I mean, just funny stories from the beginning days when we had, a van that would break down and we're just drifting in with, we had one time where we had to buy, we didn't have time to get our van fixed, so we just bought two batteries because the alternator was bad. So we just put one in until it died, and then we put another one in, and then we'd hopefully make it to the next gig. And then we couldn't turn on the fan. We couldn't turn on the heater because it used too much battery. So we were freezing in the van. And so then we went from there, and then we got signed to Capitol, and then we were just basically living in airports and flying everywhere and living on buses and just going crazy, meeting people. So that was kind of fun because you just got to meet so many famous people and rub shoulders with all these greats. And then, as time goes on, we just kind of still tour and we just play great shows. Every show is kind of a little bit of an adventure. So it's fun to go find, new people, new places. So it's always a fun time.
Yeah. I remember when you were signed to Capitol Records and that was the Dream Big album. Is that right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that we were so excited. We saw you on CMT. Like that's Ryan Shupe and the Rubber Band. They made it. They're doing it. And even today, like my 15-year-old always making the playlists on his, music app. There's
Uh,
Dream Big, there's Superman, there's these great
yeah.
songs from that album that we're listening to all the time still.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's awesome. One thing that's kind of unique I feel like about our music is that it's a kind of a unique sound in that it is just kind of almost kind of what it is. It's hard to really pinpoint exactly where it came from. But I think the good thing about that is it almost kind of doesn't fit into a timeline, if that makes sense. So, you hear some songs and you go, "Oh, I remember that came out in the 90s and it has that 90s sound, you know. But one thing about our music is it doesn't really have a time stamp to it. So I feel like you're right. It can just kind of keep going and people discover it, and it seems still to be kind of new and relevant as it just keeps going along because it's just a unique sound.
Yeah, yeah, it really is timeless, and we really sing in our minivan at the top of our lungs, and it's just fun. You've
That is
created a lot of
awesome.
memories for us.
Oh, that's great. Well, I appreciate that. That's awesome.
You've been doing this, as we said, for almost 30 years. How do you just keep loving the concerts and the music and just continue to do it?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I just I like playing music. It's really fun. Um, and it's just kind of I think it's a little bit of a challenge. So, to keep going, and I like challenges, right? So it's good to like for example, the Christmas tour. We say, okay, where do we want to go? And let's, and now we've mostly been self-producing stuff. So we just say, okay, where do we want to go? Do we want to go to you know, Boise, or do we want to just stay here? And how do we make that show happen? And so it's kind of like a problem solving thing. I like solving problems like that. So it's kind of fun that way. But then, again, it's just fun to play no matter what. The camaraderie of the band is really fun. Just, just a band of gypsies out there roaming around in a van, and we show up and set up, and then we play a show and meet everybody, and it's always just a great time. then we go to In-N-Out Burger after or whatever. And, it's just like it's just fun. It's fun to be involved with, a group of guys that are really, fun to be around. And so I just like it for that reason. It's just a good time. And then we hopefully will bring that good time to everyone else, and they can feel of those, that positive energy, and then they leave even more, kind of positive than they were when they got there.
Yeah. You're a family man. Do your family members get involved at all with your music or go on the road with you when you have this tour?
Yeah, my daughter, she's actually on a mission right now, but before, and probably when she comes back next year, she's been kind of coming along and playing a show, or playing a couple songs with us. So that's kind of fun. And then, I don't know what we're doing this year for sure, but sometimes I'll have them come sing a song or play a song, or do you know what I mean? My son actually plays drums usually in the summer. Well, he has been with us in the summer shows. And so I asked him if he wanted to come this winter, and he's like, no, 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 we should have Jake come. I don't know if you've been to the Christmas show, but Jake's just like he's just such a character. And so he's like, no, we got to have Jake come. He's just perfect for the Christmas show. So anyway, but Trevor will be there helping, and then he might play a song. And, so it's kind of fun. So my kids, they also do play music, but they kind of do help out with, helping set up merch and helping, set up the show. And then we'll see what they learn. I keep trying to get them to play a little bit more on the show, but they're I don't know, I think that they aren't as comfortable maybe as I am, but they're getting there. They're good. They're but so they come along and help, and then they sometimes play.
Yeah. Well, that's so fun to involve the family, and your your gigs don't have to take away from that time with your family.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I do like having them come along, because then they're kind of there. They can't come along on everything, but that's just life. But yeah, I try and get them as much as I can, because it's really fun to have family around.
Yeah. What do you do when you're not playing music and producing music?
So I do just random things. I have been helping. Uh, my dad started this festival, so I've been helping with that. It's called Ted Fest, and it happens in the summer. So I help with that, and then I do some random things. I do some studio recording, some producing of songs. I do a little bit of real estate stuff on the side that I like, and I don't know why I like it so much, but I think it's so different than music. Like, if you work for, 3 days on music, you have just this song, and you play it, and it just floats away into the air. And if you work 3 days on a real estate, all of a sudden you're like, wow, I just built a staircase, or there's something tangible about it. So I have a couple of those, and one of the adventures we did is we bought a house in Hawaii, but it's more like a compound. We call it the Shupe Ranch. It's like five units on one plot of land, so it's really really big. And we moved out there, and we fixed it up, and so we still go out there, and then we rent it out to friends and family and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, if anybody out there wants to go to Hawaii and they're looking for a fun place, then just hit me up on Facebook or my website.
There you go.
Send you some info. But yeah,
Perfect.
it's just always, life's an adventure, right? You only live once. And so really, that was really an excuse to go surfing. I just wanted to go surfing more. So so I figured, how can I go surfing more? Well, the best way is to have a place in Hawaii. And so a lot of work just to be able to go surfing. So there you go. But it's fun.
That's awesome. Uh,
But but yeah, mostly music, and then just some random things like that.
yeah. What are you working on right now, music wise?
Okay, so we just released a Christmas song. It's actually coming out on Friday on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. So that's good.
And what's that called?
Um, it's Christmas Time. And then we have a new music video coming out this year, for a song called "The Night That Christ Was Born." And then next year uh, my kids are kind of funny, because they're actually really good now at this point, because they're like, Dad, you need to record more songs. Get it out there. So they'll hear all these demo songs that I have, They're like, why is this not released? I'm like, well, I don't know. And they're like, Dad, make it happen. So I think maybe this next year I'll be releasing, some new music, and we might try and release a song a month or something. That might be a little ambitious, but I have, some new songs. One's called Chick-fil-A Sauce that we're gonna make a video for and release that sometime in the spring, and then some other songs. So, always just trying to make new music. I mean, I'm a songwriter and a creator, so you can't. It's hard to take the creating and songwriting out of a creator. I think there's always going to be something you want to create. So
Yeah.
I'm
I,
gonna I'll keep creating.
I was going to ask you about if there's going to be any more food songs. The corn dog song is so iconic, and the eggnog song. So now Chick-fil-A sauce. Anything else that's
Yeah,
coming out
well,
like
that's the
that?
thing. I didn't really think that, there'd be another food song. But yeah, that is kind of a random, I always try and find unique angles on things, right? So, I whenever I think of something that's kind of unique, I'll think, okay, yeah, that's cool. I should make, that a little that kind of a unique viewpoint on things. And yeah, I did not think there'd be another food related song, but hey, I mean, you might as well throw it in there. But yeah, it's kind of a funny song. It's basically talking about how it's kind of like it basically compares all these other sauces to like other girls, and then the chorus is like, "You're my Chick-fil-A sauce," because the Chick-fil-A sauce is the best. That's basically what it is. So
I love it.
it's kind of funny. Yeah. So
Maybe Cougar Tails that could slip in there somewhere.
yeah, just a whole album of food songs. Yeah.
um, we're recording this the Monday before Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for right now in your life?
Oh man. Well, I am thankful for good health. That's one thing that I always say to, everything. So, I mean, our family right now, everybody's healthy, and health is sometimes something you can't buy. So, that is that's something that I'm really thankful for. But I'm definitely thankful for a good family. I'm thankful for, the opportunity that I can keep playing music and creating and have people come. That's just a really great blessing and a lot of fun. Um, and it's BYU Idaho Radio, so I'm thankful for the gospel. I'm thankful for the things that the church brings, and there's a lot of things that come from that. And so those are probably just the first things that come to my mind.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ryan. Um, what is the best way to get tickets for this show?
I think the best way, probably just go to ryanshoop.com, and you'll just see a link there, and just click on it, and it'll take you to the ticket website.
Perfect.
That's the easiest.
Okay, it's at Thunder Ridge High School on Monday, December 1st. 7:30 is the show time. Doors open at 7. Ryan, thank you so much.
Yeah, come on out. It's going to be a great time.